The bond between the African parent and their children begin way before the child is born. Typically, after marriage, the entire family waits in anticipation for the birth of the child. Child number one, number two, number three, number four, number five, number six, number seven, number eight, number nine, yes, number 10. And every one of them is treasured throughout their lives and after death too. It's followed by the death celebrations, elaborate feasts and dances and memorials in honor of the dead and the memory of them. Welcome to the Summon, the African Summon, where we connect you to Africa and African culture. Our guest today to talk to us about this special bond between parents and their children in Africa is Ba Akwa Nyongha III of Bali Nyongha in the northwest region of Cameroon. Ba is an elder amongst his people. He is a father and he's written over 36 books and writes music and plays music, African music. He is a man of great study and wisdom, and we ask that you invite your friends, neighbors, and loved ones to join us for this conversation. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Manu.
Ba, we would like to ask you to tell us something first about your people, where you come from in Bali Nyongha. Tell us where they're found, who they are. Tell us about what they wear, their feast, their food. We want to know everything about them, how they make their money, their living. Tell us about them.
Once again, thank you very much for that very interesting question. The Bali Nyongha people are from the northwest region. It's a part of the Chamba ethnic group from Sudan. Their first leader was a woman called Nyongha, and because of that, Bali is a totally liberated ethnic group. The women are fully liberated because at the level of the kingdom, there are three palaces. The first is that of the king, and the second palace is of the queen, the stepsister ordained with him together. And the third palace is that of the queen, of the king mother. Even at the level of the village, the women is also liberated because I was ordained as a family head with a stepsister who is called Tangui, and with a stepbrother as the assistant. And my mother's successor is also very important in the family. So at the end of the family, you have two important men and two important women. So once again, the Bali woman is totally liberated. The Bali people are from Northwest, as earlier said, and they are founded by the Mancon, or the Santa people, or the Mbengui, and the Batu in the south. And concerning our tradition, we wear the Bamenda attire. We call it Njindo.
Oh, the Jindo.
Yeah, and also toggle. The one I'm wearing the Njindo. I'm wearing now. And then we have the toggle. And the women to have their own variations of that. Then for crafts, the Bali people were more expensive since they were being attacked by their neighbors. So their craft were mainly blacksmithing, where they made bows, arrows, spears, guns, and then cutlasses to clear the farm and tools to hold the farm. And also other crafts include raffia bag, chairs, bamboo chairs, and beds, and so on. Concerning the food, the main food of the Bali people is the fufu corn and jamanjama with cow meat. We don't, the chicken or the goat and so on is not very, it's fufu corn, then jamanjama, or what's called the huckleberry, and cow meat. I remember my mother, when you ate something very delicious and you came and boasted before us, you asked whether fufu corn or jamanjama and meat. And even to me today, that's my favorite dish when I eat fufu corn with jama jama and meat, I hardly drink water because it might wash away the taste from my mouth. So it's my DNA too.
Nice. All right, but so you were talking about the people source of income and how they make weapons. Is this like having to do with part of their history?
Yes, do the history since where we were, in the past, man was on a move in the past. I said we came from Sudan. In Cameroon, there are three main groups: the Sudanese, the Balis, and so on, from northwest, Adamawa, north and far north. They actually originate from Sudan. Then the five southern regions: southwest, littoral, central, southeast. They came from Congo. The Pygmies. The Pygmies are the natives of Cameroon. So people came from various origins in the past. Man was on the move. You saw a place, either you can negotiate and feed yourself there, or you go by war and then capture it. And so the Bali found themselves where they are through warfare. And of course, the neighbors were always attacking them. And that's why the main industry, the traditional industry, was blacksmithing to make weapons, spears, arrows, then guns, and then, of course, cutlasses to clear the farm and hoe. And then we have other crafts beside that, like the raffia bag, chairs, bamboo chairs, and beds. Yeah.
But thank you so much for that history. What about their festivals? And I remember hearing a lot about the Leila.
Okay, thank you again for that question. The Leila is a royal festival. It's the main royal festival in Bali, which is usually at the end of the year, around December. And the music involved, we have the Leila music. Then we also have the Danga. The Danga music is also a royal music, which is, I admitted myself, so that the Danga is jazz, which we found in America. So there's a song I'm preparing, what we call Danga, the jazz from Africa, because
Oh,
it's total jazz. Yeah, very beautiful, very royal. Then beside that too, we keep borrowing from our neighbors. There's another element called Nchibi, Nyangbe, and so on. That one was acquired by my late father, who was a businessman, who used to do business between Calabar and Northwest. So he acquired that one. And he was given the title Akwa, meaning High Chief of the Nshibi. My father's name were Akwa, his name were Nyongha. When he acquired Nshibi, he was ordained as Akwa, meaning High Chief of the Chibi culture. During the past, when I was growing up, around December, they would sing the Lela, then in March, the Chibi, will be played in the palace. So these are the two main cultures. One the Bali and the other one borrowed.
but you have gotten me into so much good stuff. I'm almost derailed from our questions today. So let's get home. All right. And who is the parent in Africa?
Thank you very much. Among my people, it is said that the parent is one, father is one, mother is one, the child is one. The parent in Africa is a larger group made of the biological parents and the brothers and sisters of the parents on both sides. Because among my people, there's no word for cousin, there are no words for nephews, nieces, uncles, and aunties. It's either father, mother,
Children.
brothers, sisters, children. So the parent is a bigger group. That's an extended family, because our culture, our social makeup was communal. We live together. And those days of polygamy, there were many wives, many children. For example, myself, my father had 9 wives when I was growing up. There was something of us in the compound. Then in the compound, there were 4 fathers. My father, there were 4 of them. And they had 20 wives. Imagine. Our own section was 9. We were swimming among ourselves, among people. Mothers, 1, father, 1. On the mother side, too, many of them.
But
So the child.
thank you so much for giving us that picture, because it is a great premise from which to build our entire conversation. You are talking about, first of all, the terminology. Words like uncles and aunties do not exist in Africa. Words like cousins. In fact, I remember a time when if I introduced my mother's sister as auntie, it was tantamount to insulting her. It was equivalent to an insult, and that could become a source of a real family problem. You know, similarly, if you introduced your cousin as your cousin, sacrilege, you know, but you can see how over time and us spending so much time in other societies where those words are used and a better description, and people would say, who's that? And if you said your sister, then you're trying to explain that actually we don't share the same mother, but she's my sister. Instead of going through all of that explanation, you just say she's my cousin, and it's gotten accepted. But what, in doing that, what we did not realize we were doing was actually breaking down our tradition. We broke down our tradition in the process, and the power that lies in calling someone your sister and brother. You're invoking a very strong bond. Calling somebody your father is invoking a very strong bond. And once we did that, we broke our home. We broke the very homes in which we live. So thank you so much for using your own scenario to help us see. There were 4 brothers, and all of them had, did you say 20 kids? But did you say 20 kids? And all those people were your brothers and sisters. You knew uncles and aunties. These were all parents. And
on both sides, about 100 of us on both sides. And just to add a little bit to show that fellowship and solidarity, I am educated today thanks to my mother's junior brother, who educated my most senior brother, who in turn educated me.
And he was not doing that. He was not doing that thinking he was raising another person's child. He was raising his child. Because remember, they were all his sons. So he was doing that knowing, this is my son, this is my son. So once this one needed help, he just stepped in, no question asked, just picked up and kept going. Those are his children. Thank you. And what's the place of the parent in the home, in the African home, and the place of the child in the African home?
Okay, thank you again for that question. The place of the parent is to guide the offspring, the children, to guide them, to give them the home and training that they need. The home training, the home education, adult life and employment for safety in the community. That's the main role. Bringing up the child for adult life and employment, serving life, making life easier for others. Because people make life easier for others. But what they are doing now, you are saving life, you are making life easier because people understand our culture, our life will be easier. So the role of the parent is to bring up the child for adult life and service, making life easier for the role of the children. They are there, the gifts from heaven. They make the parents happy. Gifts from God. They make the parents happy. And of course, they are there to give that warmth, that love, and then to have themselves brought up correctly to take over the shoes of their parents.
But so in the process of the parents raising the children, what are some of those things parents need to do to know that the African parent needs to understand is their role? I would say things like teaching them respect. Sometimes there's a tendency to leave certain things and say the school is teaching everything. But in the past, there was a lot that the African home did, and we need to emphasize the first place of education is still the home. Thus, even in times to come, it's still going to remain the home. But what are some of those? I just want to plead with you while I have you to help us understand what are some of those things that our parents should should know that it's their responsibility?
Okay, the parents should, as I said earlier, to bring up a child or to teach them correct morals and correct behavior. For example, when I'm at home with two of my grandchildren, a grandson and a granddaughter. Of course, I have a big compound, so two of my sons are staying in my compound. If any of my grandson or granddaughter do something with the left hand, I will not take it. And then he or she will understand and then give you the right hand as a sign of respect. So we teach those things practically. I have my chair as a successor in the parlor, in my parlor. Of course, they know that they cannot sit there. It's only for me. My wife too cannot sit on that chair, but as a successor, as a family head, it's here. It's also in the village. You can't sit there. When I come and sit down, traditionally they made their hand and talk to me like that 4 times. That's how an elder is greeted. When a family member comes to visit us, if the grandchildren and some of my sons are around, I'll call them. Try to point out how we are related. That is my brother. Just I'm explaining to you, I explain everything to them so that they know. With that one, at least my sons and my grandchildren, they know a good number of my family members. People that are family members, who can they pay a trip to explain to them that look, this is your father, like that, and so on. Take notes. So that's the role the parents to guide them, the traditions, behavior, morally, and so on and so forth.
Okay, wonderful, Ba. So things like cleaning up the house, dishes have to be washed. You teach them by example, you instruct them, you assign the jobs for them to do. They wake up when they have to go to bed, teaching them how to share with each other, give gifts. It's such an important thing to learn to be giving. And we have a custom of, our gifts don't have an IOU clause to them, teaching them how to give abundantly to other people, generously to their sisters and brothers, hand downs. It's precious to have things that your siblings have worn, beautiful clothes, to go from one to the, it's a sign of, it's not a sign of poverty, it's a sign of love, to be able to use something nice and share with another sibling and give them, and have them come home and feel comfortable and give them food. And not only cook for the people in your home, cook enough, knowing that people will come. Those are little things that must be taught at home. I have, in the West here, I'm blessed to have a sister who lives not very far from me, and her pots are amazing. They are huge, and every Sunday, she cooks a large amount because people are going to come. And they come from everywhere to come eat her house. And I just look at her in amazement, and I'm like, who still does this? But it shows me that it's one person starting. Now I know that it's possible. I can do it. And I'm sure everybody else who goes and enjoys this wonderful blessing, they are learning that, listen, the fact that you're away from home does not mean that you cannot practice your customs and traditions. You can still cook for strangers to come in and eat, for visitors to come. Other people, other children from other houses can come and eat. The African home is not for the people who live inside. It's a generous people. It's a kind people, a welcoming people. And that education starts from the parents who show their children how to do this.
A little bit to this food culture. When I was growing up, in our compound, the gate, there were stones there where people sit. And I was told that in those days, when mother would cook food in the morning, they would take it back to the gate. And all the fathers, the forefathers, they will come there and sit eating. Any passerby will join them. Join them. And there was also a saying that if you are approaching a room and there are people inside the house and they're not talking, it means they're eating. You hurry up. When you come, you don't talk and start eating. If you come and you greet them, they will not answer. And if they finish eating, they will hold their hands on your head. So it showed that food was a very vital community for fellowship. Somebody eating in a house didn't mean I was hungry in his house. No, it was just a question of fellowship, love and fellowship. So food was really at the center of that. And
Wow.
of certain families whereby somebody at the gate just ate and then joined the family and then became one. And they plot to be what came like that in their various compounds, whereby some of the members were not even from the blood, they just came because of that fellowship and became part of the family today. There are many compounds like that due to that food. It was, like communion, fellowship. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ba. So over time, these roles evolve as the children grow up into maturity, find work, and have their own compounds. The role of the parent and the child changes. How are some of the ways that these roles change?
Yeah, this role has changed. Move from communal to maybe a mini individualistic, because in the village it was a communal life, with polygamy and people just going to the family and coming back. But now you have various aspects of work, and of course the home you go out, you pay rent, will be a small household and with their wife and children. So the scope of the family is narrow, smaller, and with other neighbors who are not from the village too. It's a question of reality, because from moving from the village to town, the town, you have to rent maybe a smaller house. It's no longer the family, bigger family setting. Yeah, you rent a smaller house and so on. The family is not as large as in the village because of economic reasons. Not actually wasting, but the economic reasons that make, and the child now is growing with just a close sibling, and so on and so forth. But as time is evolving, that idea of compound is there, because today we have family meetings. Myself, I have a family meeting now on the father side and on the mother side. And once we get there, all our children come out. When they came to my house, my children, grandchildren, out, they paraded out and so on. The other time I was going to a different house, in where I live in India, I took two of my sons there. Now the father compound, same thing too. Those are larger compounds. And of course, we have to use everything available to maintain that fellowship, that solidarity. Like today, we have forums. We have forums over the social media. My mother's family and my father's family. We have the Benkan family forum over the social media. Members in the United States and Cameroon, everywhere. Same thing, we have the Mumbili on my mother's forum. So these are ways by which we are trying to not go into the place, but to use that media as a way of awakening that larger family. So it's a matter of using the tools available.
So essentially, the family remains the same. It's still there is still the larger family. It's just that the way society is today, the children probably leave home to go find work, and with the way the cities and the urban areas are made, the homes are kind of smaller, so it's a little harder to accommodate the bigger families which are back home. So they tend to be able to hold just the father, the mother, the biological father, mothers, and children, and a few other family members. But in terms of the role, what are the children now doing for their parents? What are the parents? What is the parents' relationship and their role towards their children as these changes are taking place? Okay, Ba, so tell us about how these roles change as the children grow older and the parents are aging. How do the roles change in the African family?
Yeah, thank you very much. Initially, the role of the parent was to give training for the child, to become for adult life and service to community, working also. But as time goes by, the children are picking up, and then the parents are receiving and play more of advisory roles to their children. until at a certain age when the energy is almost gone. The children now start taking care of their parents. And this takes me to the point whereby in my village there are three sayings for the child and old age. The first thing is that the child is the walking stick of old age. In other words, the child supports the parents at old age. The second thing is that when you are old, you suck the breath of your children. In other words, the child knows that he has to feed the parents. And the third thing here is a decree, a social decree. The third one is that the, the child is the firewood of old age. You know, in Norway it's very cold in those days, particularly in those days, it was very cold. So an old person's problem was heat.
Warmth. Mm-hmm.
It's warmth.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that, you know, at old age, the child gives support to the parent, the child feeds the parent, the child gives warmth. And the best warmth and all those three things were done at every age. The parent, particularly the mother came to the daughter's house where this warmth were given, this support and so on. Unfortunately, the fathers out of that might be their pride, I don't know. Of course, you know that they married so many women. So the father out of pride might lived in his palace or in his parlor in his house, was, you know, could not go to a child, you know, they were let down. But thanks to younger women and so younger children, he was always accompanied. Food will come, warmth, and so on and so forth. So today, it's a bit different. Today, as the parents are growing older, the children start taking care of them, that they start plowing back to them. It's natural, you know, plowing back. Some buy houses for their parents, some buy cars. The car is like a walking stick, and a form of support for movement. So that's how the roles are evolving to the time. But the roles are still there.
So yes, if I hear you well, maybe in modern day, the roles are essentially the same, just that the activities that are performed are maybe adapted to today's society, where in times past the children may have a hut which is not so far from the family or still in the family compound. They build their own hut and marry their own wives and are still there as a support. Now they are maybe moving to the cities and getting homes with their wives and their children. But the fact remains the same. They still take care of their parents. They still have a responsibility to feed them, still have a responsibility to go to them and give them warmth. You just don't leave them in the village and send money and food and think it's okay. You still go to them and be there to be that company, be there to be there with them when they have their births, they have their activities, you're still there and you still engage in every activity in society. Am I right, Ba?
Yes, like that, you know. So, you know, it's a lot of economy as time evolves. Yeah. It's not something that don't it's gradually. Because the roles keep changing and you keep fitting, you know, like that, you know.
How about the advisory role? Please talk to us a little bit about the advisory role of the parent.
Yeah, the advisory role is also very important. And the best advisory role it should be the lifestyle of the parent. The lifestyle, you know, action speaks louder than words. The lifestyle, a good example of the parent. Yeah, that's the most important, you know, not even saying anything. The children are growing, you behave well without scandal and so on and so forth. As time goes by, whatever you open about the same thing, they really believe in you. So it's a matter of walking the talk, not talking the talk, walking the walk. Yeah.
That is so deep.
Exemplary life. Yeah.
Okay, so it's also said in Africa that the place that the older people can see sitting down is impossible for the younger ones to see, even if they stood on a mountaintop. I think it speaks to the power of the advisory role. It's saying that they've lived and walked that journey. They've been through a lot, and they've tried the wrong way and failed, and have found the right way, or maybe they discover the right way by making the mistakes, or they discover the right way by doing the right thing. And they are now in their older age, full of experience and wisdom and understanding, and they have friends all over who are bringing this information. So they are a great source of guidance for the younger generation. And when they speak, the kids may be full of energy and think, oh, they can go destroy this thing and they'll make it. And a parent will just sit and tell you, my son, it's not a smart thing to do. And you're thinking, what do they know? Because you see them sitting there and they are now weak, and you think you, in your eyes, are seeing them weak, but fail to realize that in those few words, they have seen the end of everything you're trying to do, and are simply telling you, don't go the wrong way. Just to agree with you that there's a strong advisory role that the parent has, and they're a stakeholder, aren't they? They're a stakeholder in the success of their kids. So they are really a trusted advisor. If that child succeeds, then they are able to realize their own protection. They're able to guarantee the fact that when they are old, there's going to be support for them. So it's in the interest of every parent, whether the birth parent or the extended parent in the African setting, to take care of those children that they have, because in their old age, those are the people who are going to, you don't know which one succeeds. It's just like you plant. You don't know which crop will grow and which would not grow. And another child may grow from somewhere. So take care of all of them. You don't know which one will come to help you, which one will come to do what, How about the role of the parent towards their grandchildren?
Yeah, I'm a grandparent today. The same wishes, because the family, as I said earlier, is very crucial to the African. The next thing is, when you see your lineage move further and successful. Then I'm staying with two of my grandchildren. My first grandson is with me, in 45. He's writing GC this next year. So I want to see how he evolves, how it goes. Because when I will going, if my lineage has succeeded, my children, my grandchildren, even great grand, in a sense of self-fulfillment, that your lineage has succeeded. You saw your grandchildren, great grand, and generally they were doing well. You have a peaceful rest. So the grandparents have a lot of interest to watch over the evolution of their grandchildren. So they also succeed too in life. For themselves, not for the grandparents, because by the time they are really very, very useful, the grandparents might not be there to enjoy it. So it's for their own, for themselves. Yeah.
So the grandparents are invested in the success of their grandchildren. They are also there. Is this, how about the support role in raising them? The role in making them happy, pampering them. Talk to us a little bit about care for the grandchildren, please.
Yeah, thank you. It's to do with still that same line of their generation progressing.
Yes.
After seeing their children progress, they want to see their children's children, how they progress too. For example, myself, I've taken over two of my grandchildren. They're really under me. They stay with me in the same compound, in my personal house. And their fees, I'm the one in charge of their fees. The first one is writing O-level this year. One right paying the fees from beginning, you need to go to university and so on. Because what they say in my language that if they keep money in a person, I will celebrate, I will keep, but the person not money. So if the money is there, why can I not educate my grandchildren? What would I do with money? Now I cannot, as you are growing older, you are limited from even eating delicious things because they used to be eating. So you cannot just be keeping the money like, you spend it on people are the best investments in human being. the best investment you can have is the human being. So the grandchildren are a big pride. It's a nice thing to see that they actually also grow and succeed. Their parents did. But at the same time, it's also, because the generation gap, and sometimes they can be very naughty, you must be very careful. You have to handle them like an egg. An egg, so you have to find a balance. If you hold the thing, they're very stiff, they will break their hands. You are loose, you will fall and break. So it's a matter of trying to find a very fine balance to handle them. Called the generation gap. Thank you.
But so a person who has 6 children or 10 children, and each one of those children has another 6, and they send all those children to come stay with you, and talk about that experience and the reality of having that experience today.
Yeah, thank you. I have, as I've said earlier, that the family is one, father is one, and so on. I have 6 grandchildren, but 2 are living with me. Early during the year, my senior brother's grandchildren were in Douala. There were 4 of them, but they are big. They came and we passed about some 3 weeks at home. There was headache and so on, but it was enjoyable. I asked myself, in the Western world, I'm not condemning that, that's their lifestyle. In the Western world, if I were there, maybe I should have been an old person, not looking at my wife, she's looking at me. But here, with robust, strong, younger children. It was very, very interesting. We came and joined, there were 4 of them plus my 2 grandchildren, there were 6 of them in the house. One noise everywhere, but I enjoy it. I prefer it than to be lonely, just I and my wife in the house. That company, that warmth. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Okay.
So
I was also thinking about the how times have changed, and what you've described there is the beauty and the power of the African family and the unit that the African culture and the African family offers. But then there is the influence of Western and other customs and cultures that steps into it, where in times past, like you described, there was the father who was the head of the home with his wives, or even if he had just one wife, he had so many children, cousins, there were all these other children who were in the house and could take care of each other. The challenge is that system is failing because as people now narrow it down to father, mother, sister, brother, just a smaller unit, in their minds, they still imagine, they still have the image of that big family. So they carry these children and send them to their grandparents who are probably just 2 or just 1 person. And Papa, to help me, you can handle 2 people, 2 grandchildren, but 6 grandchildren, 10 grandchildren, it will not be easy for you to handle. And which would probably need you to say, hey, could you people come when you're sending these children here? Could you send a house girl to come and help? And I'm just trying to use this chance to be able to explain that what you've described to us is the ideal and is the real African family, but that people should look in their different homes with the isolation of I would dare to say the Western concept of homes. Many grandparents are finding themselves alone. They're finding if the grandfather dies, the mom is alone. If the grandmom dies, the grandfather is alone. But they're still sending so many children, and they don't realize that it's hard. You're older. It's difficult for you to manage this. So please help us. I mean, it is nice for us to realize that our system is good to have in so many ways. Grandpa would not have been suffering if he had his brothers next to him, his sisters next. Even if his wife dies, he still has support. But we've isolated ourselves so much that our homes are not functional anymore. But talk to us.
So with the changing times, what I will say is that the children that there are various ways. Maybe during holidays they can come themselves with their children to their fathers and spend some time with their parents. And then after some time they can go back and leave them there, the children you have older, younger, and so on. And if that is done every holidays, or at least once a year, the children are sent to their parents, who are their grandparents. Every year that's done, they grow with that awareness.
Wow.
And the beginning of a good change, positive change for us. So that continuity is there.
So talk to us about the place of the parent in their children's homes.
Yeah, that's also very interesting. When the parents come, the parents, some of them stay in the village. When they come to town, their children have that love to have them stay there permanently. I have the case of my nephew, from my big sister's son, who lives down here. My senior sister, one who came, and the son would not allow her to go back. I had to intervene. I went that day where they were staying and said, look, this woman had grown in the village. She has her sisters there, her friends, her life entirely. So let her go back home where she had been all along. You can be sending monies and so on. And once in a while you visit her. Because she didn't want to stay there. And I supported my senior sister. She's back in the village and she's happy. So my nephew from time to time, sometimes they go there and see her and give some. I myself I same things too. Instead of coming, because I told him that if she stayed here, she might even die out of frustration because she had not been used to the environment. It's a matter of allowing her be where she is used to. Take care of her, all the support and so on, all the warmth by going from time to time. And let her be where she is. There's a time that she may be very old, that she cannot cater for herself, then you can bring her that time. She will want to call you to come and take her. So it's a matter of finding ways, but let the parents be where they are most comfortable. Yeah, let them be where they are most comfortable. Whether to be with you or to be where they have evolved all their lives. They should choose where to be.
In terms of their role in that home, because sometimes children go to their parents' homes and they always feel like it's their home. That's where they grew up. It is indeed their home. They can go into the fridge and they can go to the kitchen and cook. They can sleep if they want to sleep. They can clean up. They can receive their friends. They feel at home. But sometimes they fail to see that the parents are part of their home as well. They fail to make their parents come to their homes and really feel welcome and their stay to be that enjoyable, even though it's just living, maybe even when they live in the same city, they move from one house to another, you get into your father's house and you feel comfortable, where when the father comes, you treat them like they are a stranger. Oh, you can only sit there. Oh, you cannot touch this. Oh, this thing is a very important plate. You should not do this. What is really the parents' place in the African home of their children, Ba?
Okay, thank you. It has to do with awareness. Awareness, in our country meetings or gatherings, social gatherings, and so on. I'm sure they should come up with strategies whereby parents can feel at home in their children's home when they come. That awareness should be created because sometimes it's done out of ignorance. Yeah. That's one way forward in our traditional meetings. That awareness should be created. That let's not become like the West. The West not condemning, that's their lifestyle. But let's not go that way. When their children come to visit, you should treat them with love and warmth. And they should have that freedom. Feel at home. Where else can they be? Can they feel home apart from their parents' home?
Yeah, because even if they don't feel loved when they are strong and they come to their children's home, at the time when they are really old and sick and needing help, If you tell them to go back to that house, their memory of the house is bad. You know, so they would still not want their homes to come there. They will tell themselves, no, that place is a dreadful place. They don't welcome me, because during their visits there, they've not been welcome. So they want to remain in their homes and die. They prefer to die there, you know. But are there any challenges you are hearing from friends and brothers and about that relationship between the parent and the children, and how things have changed in society today?
Okay, I will take because those things are based on examples. I'll take the case of some parents who go abroad to meet their children abroad, the diaspora. They usually give complaint that when they go there, they are just at home alone. They are locked in the house as with their kids, and don't see their children very late. And some of them go after some time, they run back home. And when they come back, they are so happy to be home free. So again, that's to only be with awareness. This forum, now, this interview, to appeal to our children, that that three sayings that I mentioned earlier: the child is a walking stick, the child is a firewood of old age. Then you suffer the breast of it stands. I'm appealing to our children in the diaspora, in the cities, and everywhere. These three social decrees for OA, to respect them, to treat their parents with all the love. That when they come to their home, they should treat them with all the warmth, all the love that they need. Because if they are not free where they are, where will they else can go to? They can only be free in their home. Treat them consciously. Treat them with love consciously. I'm using this forum to appeal to them.
But it is so profound, the things you've said today. I know you started by talking about trust, and then you moved to the example, leading by example. And I hear two big things: trust and love. They are the only ways that our customs and traditions can stand. Our people did not have to write decrees, they did not have to write laws, but they understood between each other that this is the way we are going to live, and they trusted that it was going to be upheld. And there were consequences when kids went out of the way and did their own thing. But it starts with us going back to trusting, going back to loving, going back to understanding that this is the only way we can survive. Otherwise, we are only Black people in living white people's lives, or living aliens, the lives of other people. We don't have a culture of our own if we abandon all these things. So I really want to thank you for coming to share your wisdom with us and helping to point us to these laws, the social laws of being the walking stick, the breast, and the third one back.
The firewood.
The firewood. The firewood. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom with us. Viewers, you heard it from Ba himself, and we are the last frontier. We are the only ones who can uphold the customs of our people. We are the future of Africa, and it's important that we go back to our parents and understand the wisdom that lies in our tradition. Understand why we should do things the way our people do them and not in any other way, because it is our competitive advantage. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you like this content. Like, make comments, and invite others to join us next time. Until next time, I'm Manondo Akono saying thank you for responding to this sermon.